This presentation is about unlocking Steelpoortdrift as one of the world's most preeminent vanadium projects. It's passing disclaimer. We're fully funded to final investment decision, and we are conducting a DFS that we expect to be finalized in September. That's based on a PFS that we completed last year in June and got some good numbers on post-tax. NPV8 of $1.2 billion and an IRR of 45%. Now, also a low capex number. You'll see that very shortly in a comparative. And then also of the lowest OPEX numbers we believe that's available. And the reason for those numbers are related to a number of factors. Firstly, the ore body. It's very easy to mine and to upgrade to a concentrate. Secondly, we're using the conventional salt roast process that's been optimized in South Africa for many decades. And that is easy to work with respect to the fact that it's in South Africa. A lot of IP is being exported by South Africa because based on that technology. Then lastly, also the infrastructure. We in the Eastern Bushveld complex, where there are at this stage 32 mines. Infrastructure is ubiquitous there, and it allows us to focus on the ore body and mining it instead of building infrastructure. I'm not going to dwell too much on the corporate overview here. The board and management, we have got the right people to fulfill or achieve the two targets that we've set out to achieve, and that is to firstly to complete the DFS, and then secondly is to raise the capital to build the mine. Those of you who don't know vanadium, what we're seeing in the vanadium space is a significant uptick in demand from vanadium redox flow to drive the renewable energy revolution. The slide on the left-hand side, you will see that it's expected to go to 25,000 tons of vanadium in as little as 3 to 4 years' time. It's already at about 5,000 tons. And if that continues, it will become a truly green metal. The deficit that's caused by that needs to be filled, and that's where we intend to play a role. New capacity potential probably would not come from existing capacity. Stone coal in particular requires a high vanadium price to be economical. And then the new capacity would probably come from projects like us. Another factor that influences the price dynamics of vanadium is the fact that China has become a net importer in 2021 of vanadium, or rather 2020, and that seems to continue. You can see that dot line is how things are going. Where it's heading towards, and that's mostly a result of environmental pressure. So vanadium's price dynamics is heavily reliant on steel in rebar, but also these new applications are coming to the fore. So the project is located in South Africa in the Eastern Bushveld, as I said. Right next to us are old operations, Vantic in particular, that had been mined out. Mapos has got a small resource left. That with feedstock for high-fel steel and vanadium. And as you know, that is probably not going to start up again. The Steelpoortdrift resource is really what differentiates it from other ore bodies around. And that's mostly around its intrinsic qualities. Firstly, the ore body is shallow dipping, gently dipping at 10 degrees. And the resource is 662 million tons. We expect that to be probably the largest resource in the world currently. And we are using 73.95 million tons. 74 million tons is our reserve, which runs at a 1-to-1 stripping ratio. The ore body is a 3-meter ore package that can be mined, and that reduces OPEX numbers even further. The Then comparing that ore body and the grade with other deposits that's available worldwide on the left-hand side, you'll see the existing producers. And on the right-hand side, you will see the aspirant producers, notably more so out of Australia. And the real difference lies in the concentrate grade, what goes into the SRL plant. We put as much energy into putting 1 ton of magnetite through the SRL plant, but we produce a third more product. And that translates then into a higher number with respect to your financial metrics. The PFS metrics was conducted on salt roast technology, as I mentioned. $200 million capex. It will take us about 18 months to build, and that will then yield 12,500 tons of vanadium pentoxide. We could then ramp that up. You'll see very shortly from free cash flow, and that would take us then to 18,500 tons per annum. The financial returns that the PFS has shown is significant. We expect the DFS to be no different. NPV8, as I mentioned, $1.2 billion. The free cash flow, that is what would fund getting the ramp up done to 18,500 tons, and that can be done as little as early in the 4th year. 25 months payback after the 25 months payback has been achieved. Comparing Steelpoortdrift to other projects that's available currently, firstly, we're starting off on $9.03 per pound price. That's a 15-year average looking back from June last year. Some of the newer numbers on the DFSs that was brought out by Australian counterparts have got higher prices anticipated in that. But we expect to stay fairly conservative when it gets to the DFS, getting that using a price that's probably around there, because we think that's justifiable, and we don't think that the project needs higher prices to look better. The capex is really where the difference lies. $200 million capex is far better than many of the other aspirant producers wish to achieve. And then the OPEX number is $3.08, which is of the lowest that we are aware of at this stage, which of course then means a lot for the company's ability to weather the storms of fluctuations that you get in the markets. I'm not going to speak about Largo at this stage, but what you can see is that we're getting very similar numbers to them to what they have been producing. Timeline to production, we expect to finalize the DFS, as I mentioned, in September this year. At the meantime, we will be talking to off-takers and principal funders, and hopefully would be able to make a final investment decision very, very soon, hopefully in the first half of next year. It will take about 18 months to build, and then once that has occurred, then we'd be production, if all goes well, by the second half of 2024. Our news flow would be aimed at preparation to raise construction funding, and we would then be able to, at that stage, hopefully still leverage the very good debt service cover ratio that the asset exhibits through its short payback period. And we'll be talking to the usual suspects in that regard. We also have got ESG credentials that we're working on earnestly to attract the right institutional support. In conclusion, why would we say is VR8's project world-class? Firstly, you've seen the phenomenal financial numbers. We're only using 12% of the resource. That gives us optionality to scale up very quickly if we wish. We were mining in a jurisdiction that has got the infrastructure and expertise that one would need to do, and we have probably the most competitive OPEX and CAPEX numbers. Thank you very much.